Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we are checking out another video for Detroit Become Human. If you haven't seen the previous one we checked out not that long ago, you can check that out right there if you want. Now, Detroit Become Human is a game that is very interesting to me and that I would love to learn more about, see more from, and get more information from wherever I can. It's one of those games that gets me really hyped because of who directed it, because of who came up with it, because of the way it seems to pan out into an amazing story full of excellent choices with interesting characters and a very interesting concept. The concept, above all things, is a reason for me to be extremely... there you go, I'm all excited. So, Detroit Become Human is going to come out soon. I don't know exactly when, but it's pretty soon. Can I actually see a release date in the description anywhere? Yeah. It's actually going to be in what I think is May, so we're getting really close. I love this so far. I want to see more, and today we are checking out something that is important to any story-based game, or maybe even any game in general, which is the music. This is a trailer called Behind the Music, so obviously the ideas behind the creation of the soundtrack and the specific themes and whatnot. To me personally, music is, especially in films, it's like 50% of what makes it good. In games, it's probably about 30 to 45% maybe. So what makes it good? Music is such an important thing, such an important factor, often overlooked, unfortunately, that can make a game stand out to me personally. Like, I remember, music from games such as Dragon Age and The Witcher and those kind of games, the big RPGs with like the amazing music that stood out to me. I remember them to this day, and I remember the games to this day, and that's why I have a high, not just because of that, but that's why I remember them so vividly, and I remember certain things so vividly. Music is such an important part in big RPG games, often overlooked, so I like seeing that, even with, games like bigger, componists and bigger musicians are actually getting into the scene and making soundtracks for games, designing soundtracks for games, and upping the scale even with games and music in games, which is a great thing for me personally as someone who has like music gasms with gaming and in the movies and with everything. So I would like to see the ideas behind the music of Detroit Become Human by such a complex story which is set in the future as well. Curious what they're going to do with all these factors, and curious what this trailer is about in general. So why don't we hop in? Here we go. The soundtrack of Detroit.
For the soundtrack of the game, we tried to be very close to what is done in film. We were constantly asking at each place in the game, why are we putting music here? What is it going to say? So we focused the music on bringing emotion, which is interactive and supports the character's arc.
I'm sorry.
We make games that are very narrative. We're really into interactive drama, so the soundtrack also had to go in that direction, supporting the three characters' very different stories.
My name is Philip Shepherd, and I'm a composer and a cellist and a producer, and today we're at Abbey Road Studio One, which is my favourite studio in the world, and today we're recording the soundtrack for Kara.
See, this is what I mean, like the big studios with the loads of musicians, and I like that. I like the fact that we do that nowadays. It's getting better and better.
So when I compose a big project, I often travel just to kind of get out, and get some fresh air and some inspiration. I had a log fire in the room that I was staying in, and the flames were kind of making absolutely direct music, and it became the basis for Kara's theme, and it sounds something like this.
I've never heard Fire do that, but I appreciate the fact that he heard it because it sounds good.
Over the top of that, I found a little theme that just seemed to fit over the top, which is taking Kara's name, Kara, and just using like a two-syllable motif, and it sounds like this.
We're going to pull through this, Alice. As long as we're together, nothing can hurt us.
I like the sound of that.
And all the time that's fitting over. So it kind of works in lots of levels. And in fact, every single theme in the score has one of those elements built into it, and it becomes sort of the DNA of every single tune.
Cool.
They're over there! Starting a new project, for me personally, it's always finding the right tone, finding the right color, I like to call it. For me, it's finding that right texture that actually sits against picture really well. One of the biggest things is I created custom instruments for Connor. I pulled out all my vintage synthesizers to be able to capture this robotic person, if you will. As soon as you see Connor the first time, there is a really interesting thematic idea that you hear, and that's just made out of a Moog synthesizer, but completely manipulated in multiple ways. And it's robotic. It has a little bit of an emotional to it. He's on his mission, so you feel that as well. So it just kind of gives you that cold, motionless, with a mission in hand that you kind of feel throughout.
Yeah, that's Connor. We've already checked out the character trailer, of course.
Some people are asking, have androids become a threat to our security?
When I first started really digging in on Marcus,
I like how I've composed for different
really
characters.
Tried to capture was the transformation process. You know, Marcus is this android that evolves over the course of the game and really goes from kind of figuring out that he's more than just an android. You know, he's starting to develop kind of a human soul in a way. The other side of Marcus that I really latched onto was that he almost became a savior for a lot of the other androids in the game. So when I started developing the theme for Marcus, I really made it like a church hymn.
A bit more epic, yeah.
I wanted it to be very simple. I wanted to make it a chordal melody. I really wanted to make it almost like a Bach hymn. The tough thing with that is it had to be recognizable. If I made it too complex from a harmonic standpoint, it would be hard, I think, for people to kind of pick it out and recognize it.
Yeah, I get that.
I gotta be honest, when we first started on this path, I said, oh man, this could be pretty messy, you know? I mean, it could feel disconnected, but I mean, it's amazing how they really guided us and got us to really kind of all be in the same world, but at the same time feeling completely different. So it's really gonna stand out and kind of be one of those games where people are really gonna notice the music and kind of how it was crafted. And,
I hope so, definitely.
You know, and all the hard work that went into being able to pull it off in a graceful way.
I hope so. I love music and soundtracks that are decently composed and fit the story and the world and the elements. Detroit Become Human. Looking forward to this game, man. Really am. What we see here is something that I really like personally. Usually, of course, it's one composer who goes for a whole game, for the whole soundtrack of a game, which makes sense because you get into the, maybe you got helpers and he works together with certain people, okay, but usually like these people, they find out a certain theme they want to go with the elements of the world and the story and the characters and all of that, and figure out like a sound that fits to them, that works for them. I like the fact that they didn't do that here. They got like 3 different composers who basically all, you know, obviously they kind of work together because they needed, as he said, needs to create something that is within the same world and universe and doesn't feel too messy or apart from each other. But they all got to dive deep into the character specifically. They don't have to figure out for this. Obviously, they do have to think about the world, but they don't have to think about all the different elements. They have to figure out their character. They get their character, their information. They all get their own way of finding out, you know, what they want to have that sound like. And then they figure out something, and you get these amazing themes by different people with different opinions and aspects of, you know, how they would feel and voice in music, those emotions and the things going on. I really like that. I think that's really well done. I think that's really cool. And I can't wait to hear, you've already got a bunch of glimpses there, and it sounded really good, what these people all have in mind for these different characters. And if you would have switched it around and got one of these people on the other character and switched them around with, you know, someone, if you got the first guy working on Marcus and vice versa, you'll probably get something extremely different, but still in the same universe in a sort of way. So I really like how they did that. I really like that, and Detroit Become Human is a game that I really like in general. So looking forward to that. Let me know what you think. As always, I would love to hear your opinion. Get down in the comments below. While you're down there, feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more videos in the future. We're closing in on release dates for a lot of cool games, so more trailers to come, I assure you. Thank you so much for watching. If you value my content at all, then please feel free to check any of the donation options in the description down below. It really, really, really helps me out to keep this channel going and keep videos coming for you. So consider it at least, and I would really, really be very grateful. Check out another video of mine. There's also a way to support me in the end screen in a second, and then I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.